What up gamers, Fence here, and in this video I want to talk about the Ahsoka show and how it is really one of possibly the last few shows that I'm really looking forward to in Star Wars. Another show that I'm looking forward to is The Acolytes, and that's based on the rumors and leaks that I've heard, but I'm not that familiar with the High Republic era other than it's being like the prime time of being a Jedi, so I'm not too excited for it. However, when it comes to stuff that I am familiar with, like Ahsoka, not only am I looking forward to it, but it does feel like a new hope for me to be interested in Star Wars again. I see that because the last couple of Star Wars shows had me burnt out, mainly because I just didn't like the writing. I think ever since the Book of Boba Fett, I slowly started to lose interest in Star Wars. I wasn't a big fan of the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Andor, but I will say that Andor had really good writing. It's just that the show overall is not what I watch Star Wars for. Where Andor feels more grounded than the average Star Wars story, what I watch Star Wars for is the more magical, mythical, and adventurous side of things. To me, The Bad Batch Season 2 and The Mandalorian Season 3 captures that, though I feel like they're not the best they could have been in terms of writing and story choices. But what I feel like is the best that they've done so far is Tales of the Jedi, where I felt like the pacing and story material are on point while telling new stories that feels like the classic Star Wars adventure. And the person behind the show was none other than Dave Filoni, whose work I've noticed that I always liked it, whether it's be the Clone Wars, Rebels, the live action shows that he wrote in episodes in. Yeah, whenever Dave touches something, I just feel like it turns into gold. And I would like to say that I like him the most out of Lucasfilm of today because, he just retains the style and vision of George Lucas, which makes sense since he was pretty much an apprentice to George during the Clone Wars show, even being confirmed in a recent interview of the Ahsoka show. And speaking of the Ahsoka show, it truly feels like a new hope for me to be reinvigorated into Star Wars. Like I said, ever since Boba Fett, I felt like the quality has dropped immensely, and I started to slack off on watching Star Wars. It began with Andor, where I felt it would be better to wait a few weeks for more episodes to come out and watch them in a row because I felt like the story was way too slow for me. I also didn't finish The Bad Batch Season 2. I would say I'm more than halfway through it right now, but yeah, maybe in the future I'll finish it because I would say I do like it for, more than some of the other ones. And also, wow, yeah, I just realized I didn't even watch Star Wars Vision Season 2, which feels weird because, well, I love anime, if you couldn't tell by now. But yeah, it just feels weird because, I just, at that time, I just didn't feel like watching anything Star Wars related. Now, as for Tales of the Jedi, I would say that it reinvigorated me for a little bit, but then the Mandalorian Season 3 release, and I thought it was average at best. I don't think it was that bad or that good, just, very much in the middle. And it makes me sad because I even wanted to make a video reviewing the season because that's what I did for the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. But like with Star Wars Vision Season 2, I just didn't feel like doing it. But with the Ahsoka show coming up, and based on all the stuff I've seen in the interviews and its marketing, I feel like this will make Star Wars great again, or at least to me, it'll feel like that. Now, of course, there is a possibility that it won't be as good as I hope, but I'm pretty optimistic on Dave's plan for the future since it seems like it'll lead to Thrawn being the next big bad, and that'll spawn shows, movies, or even seasons from existing shows to connect to him. So even if the Ahsoka show sucks, I think what comes after is at least interesting enough for me to stick around. And as for Thrawn himself, I thought he was a very interesting antagonist in Rebels. From what I remember, there wasn't a lot of action scenes with him, instead, he's more of a tactical and smart person, outwitting his enemies and all that, kind of like just playing chess or just trying to talk his way out of things and try to get into the minds of people, I guess. That's what I remember. And I think he's a very unique character in that aspect. And seeing how they reference Timothy Zahn in an interview on how they want to make sure they're careful with it, and how they literally said heir to the Empire in the Ahsoka trailer, it makes me think that something really big is coming. Now, I've never read the Thrawn trilogy of books, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. So, if they decide to make movies or shows based on those books, then I'm extremely down for it. Maybe it'll even rival the big Star Wars movies themselves, but we'll see. Anyways, that is all I want to say, and now I turn it over to you guys. Are you guys looking forward to the Ahsoka show and what comes after? Are you done with Star Wars, or are you still hanging on like me? Let me know down in the comments below. I will be making review videos on the Ahsoka show, but only for the first 3 episodes, and then when the rest of the season finishes. So yeah, that's it. That is all I want to say. And so yeah, that's game.